Imagine being a teenager from a country that almost nobody expects, music, to produce the next global tennis superstar. No famous tennis tradition, no endless, music, list of Grand Slam champions, no history of dominating the biggest courts in the world. Music, and yet, suddenly, your name starts appearing on international sports websites. European commentators, music, begin analyzing your game. American journalists start mentioning your rise. Asian media proudly follows every tournament you enter. Tennis fans around the world begin asking the same question. Who is Alex Eala? At first, music, it seemed like just another promising junior player making steady progress. But something changed. Music, every time Alex stepped onto a bigger stage, more people noticed, more headlines appeared, more conversations started. And today, it isn't only the Philippines watching her journey anymore. The world is, music, paying attention. But here's what makes this story so fascinating. This isn't, music, just about one tennis player becoming famous. It's about an entire country finally entering, music, a conversation it was rarely included in before. Because every time international media talks about Alex, they're also talking about the Philippines. And that may be the biggest victory of all. For years, the Philippines was already respected for producing incredible athletes, boxing legends, world-class weightlifters, passionate basketball players, talented footballers. But when it came to professional tennis, the country was rarely mentioned alongside the traditional powerhouses. Music, if someone asked tennis fans to name countries famous for the sport, the answers were usually the same. Music, Spain, United States, France, Italy, Australia, Serbia, Switzerland, the Philippines almost never, music, entered that conversation until Alex arrived. She didn't simply start winning matches. She started changing, music, perceptions. Every upset victory forced commentators to learn more about her. Every ranking milestone, music, encouraged journalists to tell her story. Every deep tournament run introduced millions of new fans to a country many had never associated, music, with elite tennis. That kind of attention cannot be bought. It has to be earned. What makes Alex's story even more compelling is that it doesn't follow the typical path of a tennis superstar. She wasn't born into one of the sport's biggest nations. She didn't grow up surrounded by dozens of, music, Grand Slam champions. Instead, she left home at a young age to train at the Rafael Nadal Academy, music, in Spain. Think about how difficult that decision must have been. Leaving your family, music, your friends, your comfort zone, everything familiar, all for one dream. While most teenagers were living ordinary lives, music, Alex was building an extraordinary one. Every training session demanded discipline. Every tournament tested her confidence. Every defeat became another lesson. Every victory became, music, another step forward. That dedication became impossible to ignore. And eventually, international media began noticing something, music, special. Not only her talent, but her mindset. The tennis world loves stories that inspire people. And Alex's journey checks every box. A young player from a country with limited tennis history. Music, training overseas, working quietly, improving every season, breaking barriers, music, creating history. Those stories naturally attract attention because fans love watching someone challenge expectations. It's one thing to succeed when the world expects it. It's another to surprise everyone. That's exactly what makes Alex's rise so interesting. Every music tournament becomes another opportunity to prove she belongs. Every upset victory becomes another music headline. Every ranking improvement becomes another reason for global media to pay attention. Music, but here's something many people overlook. When international media covers Alex, they aren't only discussing music, forehands, backhands, and rankings. They're telling a much bigger story. A story about perseverance. A story about belief. A story about how talent can come from anywhere. That message resonates far beyond tennis. It reaches young athletes, parents, coaches, even people who have never watched a tennis match before because determination, music, is a universal language. Imagine being a young Filipino child watching international television. For years you mostly saw athletes from music, other countries lifting major trophies. Now you see someone who speaks like you, represents your flag, shares your culture, standing on the same court as the music, biggest names in tennis. That changes something inside people. Representation matters, not because it guarantees success, but because it makes success feel possible. Alex has become proof that world-class dreams are not limited by geography. And then something remarkable started happening. Music. The more international attention Alex received, the more curiosity grew about the Philippines itself. Foreign journalists, music, wanted to know where she came from, how she developed, why her success mattered, music, so much. Suddenly, articles weren't just about Alex. They were also about Filipino, music, passion, Filipino determination, Filipino sports culture. One athlete, music, was quietly introducing millions of people to an entire nation in a completely different way. That is a powerful form of influence. Of course, the journey is far from over. Professional tennis is, music, one of the toughest sports in the world. Every week presents a new challenge. Every opponent wants to win. Every tournament demands, music, consistency. Nothing is guaranteed. There will be victories. There will be setbacks. There will be moments of celebration and moments of disappointment. That's the reality of elite sport. But regardless of what happens next, music, one thing has already become clear. Alex has succeeded in something that cannot be measured by trophies alone. She has made people around the world pay attention, music, not just to her, but to the Philippines. And sometimes that's how history begins. Music, not with one unforgettable championship, but with one athlete who quietly changes the conversation, one match at a time. Music, but perhaps the most fascinating part of Alexa's story isn't what she's already achieved. Music, it's what she represents. Because around the world, sports fans love discovering music, the next great star before everyone else does. Every generation has that athlete. Someone who seems to appear out of nowhere. Music, someone who forces experts to rethink their predictions. Someone who reminds the world that greatness doesn't always come from the places people expect. For many, music, international tennis fans, Alex has become exactly that player. She's no longer viewed as just another young competitor, music, trying to climb the rankings. Instead, she's increasingly seen as one of the most exciting rising talents in women's tennis. That shift in perception is incredibly important. Once the world's biggest sports media begin seeing you as a genuine contender, they, music, follow every step of your journey. Every draw becomes a headline. Every upset victory becomes breaking news. Music, every improvement becomes another reason to believe the best is still ahead. That's exactly why Alex continues attracting global attention. Not because her story is finished, but, music, because everyone wants to know how it ends. There's another reason foreign media finds Alex Eala so interesting. She represents a new generation of athletes. Today's champions are expected, music, to do much more than win matches. They inspire. They communicate with fans. They represent, music, their countries on the global stage. They become role models for millions of young people. Alex has handled, music, that responsibility with remarkable maturity. Whether she wins or loses, she consistently speaks with humility. She respects, music, her opponents. She gives credit to her team. She continues working without creating unnecessary drama. In today's sports world, that kind of professionalism stands out. Many journalists have noticed it, music, because character is often just as memorable as talent. International coverage also grows whenever an athlete begins challenging high-ranked opponents. Every time Alex steps onto the court against one of the music world's biggest names, the match suddenly becomes interesting for audiences across different music countries. Fans love watching underdogs. Commentators love analyzing fearless young players. Journalists love writing stories about potential breakthroughs. Music, that combination creates something every athlete hopes for. Momentum. Music and momentum is powerful. Once people become emotionally invested in your journey, they keep music coming back. Not because they know what will happen, but because they don't. Think about the greatest sports stories you've ever heard. Very few, music, began with guaranteed success. Most began with uncertainty, questions, doubt, unexpected victories, music, painful defeats, comebacks. That's exactly what keeps music audiences watching. Alex Eala's career still contains all those unanswered questions. Can she become music a Grand Slam contender? Can she reach the world's top 10? Can she become the greatest tennis player the Philippines has ever produced? Nobody knows. Music, and that's precisely why international audiences remain fascinated. The mystery, music, keeps the story alive. Another factor often overlooked is the growing influence of social media. Years ago, fans depended, music, almost entirely on television broadcasts and newspapers. Today, a single incredible rally can spread across the world within minutes. Music, one emotional celebration, one unbelievable shot, one giant upset. Suddenly, millions of people are sharing the same video. That exposure introduces athletes to completely new audiences. Someone in Europe, music, watches a highlight. Someone in America shares it. Someone in Australia, music, comments on it. Someone in South America becomes a new fan. Within hours, music, an athlete's name has traveled around the globe. That's the world Alex competes in today. Every great performance has the potential to become music and international.